45th president.
You have to put air quotes around statement, by the way.
He called it a beautiful piece of bronze sculpture. Lee is considered by many generals to be the greatest strategist of them all. Except he lost. Didn't he lose, Travis? Could you Google that? I think he lost.
He lost.
And called him perhaps the greatest unifying force after the war was... Unifying force? After the war was over. If only we had Robert E. Lee to command our troops in Afghanistan. What?
What?
He lost in his own...
And he's dead.
Okay.
Zombie
That
Robert E. Lee?
disaster would have ended in complete and total victory many years ago. What an embarrassment we're suffering because we don't have the genius of Robert E. Lee. Oh my God. Oh my God, Carl.
God.
He's got a chubby for Robert E. Lee.
Hell? How would he
Well, I
won in
can only imagine
Afghanistan when he lost? Okay. Never
I
mind.
can only imagine what he'd think of the fact that we changed the name of Robert E. Lee High School
Yeah.
to John R. Lewis High School
Right.
last year. So,
Oh, I'm sure there will be a
also,
statement on that from the office of the
how on earth does he think that Robert E. Lee would not lose his mind if he was brought to present day?
Right?
He would probably be frightened beyond belief
Yes.
by technology and everything else.
Yeah.
So,
Let me just say on behalf of
let
many-
alone like the progress we've made for communities of color and women and
Yes.
LGBTQ people and
Let me take a moment to say you and the horse you rode in on, Robert E. Lee. See what I did there?
I
'Cause
see what you
he's
did
on a horse. Okay. Carl, what are we going to do about this filibuster? I have a guess the quote, Chris. It's
Okay.
time Senate Democrats act with the urgency that this moment demands and abolish the filibuster once and for all. Who said that?
Grape Ape.
No, that would be Harry Reid. Carl, can you explain to the children how Mitch McConnell will do this the minute they have the majority back? Right?
yes.
So,
If he needed it, he would do it.
right.
And we need it. And, I've been reading a bit about how the new strategy in the Senate Democratic cloakroom is to put Manchin in charge of getting Republican votes so that he will continue to hit his head against the wall until he realizes that they are not interested in doing the right thing or coming to agreement or reaching compromise on these big issues that he even considers to be non-debatable. And by the way, what's wrong with moving forward with things that are debatable? There's so I hope he will come to his senses, but
Thank you.
I don't, hope doesn't get as much.
Carl, so as a former campaign strategist, have to run this poll by you. New poll says 7 in 10 Americans, that's almost 70%, Chris,
I've heard, yes. Mm-hmm.
support the Build Back Better plan. 3 in 4 agree it should be passed urgently. Each major element is popular, especially strengthening Medicare to reduce prescription drug costs and cover dental, vision, and hearing. This is wildly popular, and in West Virginia included. So I don't...
Probably more so in West Virginia.
Right. Are you making a toothless joke? Are you making a dental joke?
Stop.
I always not.
I'm not speaking deedly. I'm just saying all of the elements are wildly popular everywhere, right? So what is his problem? What's his main damage, Joe Manchin? I just need to know.
Well, I guess if the 75% of Americans who support these things also had a couple $1 million to throw around, maybe we'd be making progress. But unfortunately, the Chamber of Commerce, which has started to show Joe Manchin a lot of love, is pulling out all the stops to make sure that this does not happen. They formed a giant consortium of big business associations to try and stop this. It's just, so telling about where the priorities are of these people. These are companies that were first in line to get paycheck protection assistance and billions of dollars in federal aid during the beginning of the pandemic, while millions of Americans suffered and continue to suffer, losing their homes, not being able to afford to put food on the table. And now the Biden administration wants to move forward with a plan that will actually help people, real people, and corporations are the first ones to stand up and say, not over our dead body.
Yeah. Well, by the way, speaking of, you were just talking about getting shown love. Does this not tell you you're on the wrong side of things when Mitch McConnell has warm words for you, had warm words for Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin, both of whom are holding up passage of the $3.5 trillion spending plan and demanding it be cut. He said, we're down to 2 who are resisting, Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. I pray for them every night. I wish them well. We give them lots of love. Oh my God. Is that the kind of sentiment they want from Mitch McConnell?
Well, it's interesting. There was an article a couple weeks ago where Mitch McConnell was quoted in a private Republican senators meeting, encouraging his colleagues to praise Sinema and Manchin. I don't know what we can do to formulate or foment the praise that is sufficient to make up for whatever they think they're giving these senators to keep them in line.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, they're going to have to realize that the Republican senators have no interest in working with them. You think that they would be doing any of this if we had 55 senators? They wouldn't even be talking to Sinema and Manchin.
Yeah. Well, that's what I hope, honestly, Carl, in 2022, that there is such a, whether it's Texas powered, women powered, minority powered, whatever it is, that we just have such a blue tsunami that no one sticks a microphone in Manchin or Sinema's face ever because no one cares what they. Okay.
Well, and that's the critical point here, right? It's getting rid of Trump didn't solve all of our problems.
Yeah.
Many things still remain. And if people walk away from this process, it'll bite them in the rear end for sure. And it's already happening in states.
Yeah. Well, this tweet, Brian Tyler Cohen said, just a reminder that we could quite literally pass legislation codifying Roe right now by eliminating the filibuster, but two centrists have decided that protecting an arcane Senate procedural tool is more important than protecting a woman's bodily autonomy. I mean, add that to the heap of urgent issues in addition to voting, people being able to vote. I mean, it could not be more essential. I think that right now, right, that there are so many things we could do. I think Mark Pocan went down the list, and it's the filibuster is the only thing stopping all of it.
Well, and it's, and we have to think about what else the filibuster has a role in. So if the filibuster is standing in the way of us protecting the right to vote, what does that mean? It means it is also standing in the way of electing more Democrats to do right by these communities and to advance these policies. It's not just standing in the way of the policies that could currently be happening in the Senate, but it's standing in the way of future successes too.
Well, and the reason I think, Carl, they're desperate to not have these things pass is because they're all wildly popular. I mean, I think they know Republicans will never win again if Democrats did all of these things that are again wildly popular. All of them, right? Go down the list.
They also know that one thing they have going for them is that people think that nothing will ever change in Washington. So if they can stand in the way and make sure no progress is made, they can underscore the idea that even with Democrats in control, nothing will change.
Yeah.
So why bother participating? That's what they want. They don't want people participating in this democracy.